Well, our midterm election week coverage continues. Election week. When did it become election week? And we keep hearing from all corners of this town, where was the red wave? Where was the red wave? Well, what if I told you that there was a red wave? It just didn't wash up where you expected it. What if I told you that the red wave actually washed ashore at your local school board elections, or maybe state school superintendents, or any other statewide candidate that promised school choice, that put parents back in the driver's seat for their children's education? Because the results for those elections, pretty good. Corey DeAngelis is a senior fellow for American Federation for Children, and he champions these issues like no one else. Corey, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, thank you.
Well, what do you think? Was there, in fact, a red wave when it comes to parents and school choice issues?
Yeah, when it comes to Tuesday's midterms elections, I would say that there was a school choice wave, and the biggest victors Tuesday night were the parents. For far too long in K-12 education, the only special interest essentially represented the employees. But now the kids have a union of their own, their parents, and they're winning all across the country. If you look at my organization, the American Federation for Children, 76% of the candidates that we supported won their elections this year.
Wow.
So school choice is a winning issue. And if you look at the left, their minds are just exploding over the issue right now. If you look at the New Yorker, they just wrote a piece saying that it's been depressing that there's been so much winning for education freedom, and that might be depressing for them, but it's a good thing for parents. And if you look at DeSantis, all 6 of his candidates that he endorsed in Florida for school board won their runoff elections on Tuesday night, putting DeSantis at 80% victory rate for the year when it comes to local education races.
Wow.
Look at Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt, a huge supporter of school choice. He won by 14 points overall, even though he faced an onslaught of attacks from dark money groups for his position on school choice. But you know what? Parents have woken up. They're never going back to sleep, and they're holding politicians accountable at the ballot box.
Well, that is an astounding record. It truly is. And frankly, the fact that a governor like Governor DeSantis, who is a national figure and has a lot of things to run on, the fact that he even went out of his way to endorse a school board candidate, that tells you how critically important it is. But that wasn't just in Florida. Governor Abbott, I know, in Texas, made a big issue of school choice in his reelection, and he absolutely cleaned Beto O'Rourke's clock.
That's right. Beto tried to make it a thing, and Beto went to private school himself and then railed against allowing low-income families to send their kids to private school. So he was a huge school choice hypocrite. Abbott destroyed Beto in the race. And with DeSantis again in Florida, look, he owes his 2018 victory to school choice moms, according to a Wall Street Journal opinion piece back in 2018. And if you look at how the votes turned out in Miami-Dade, DeSantis won Miami-Dade by about 11 points, a county that went 7 points to Biden in 2020. So there's been a huge shift towards DeSantis. And it's worth noting that over 70% of students in Miami-Dade County attend a school that they're not residentially assigned to. They use school choice programs in Miami. And DeSantis overperformed with Latinos as well all across the state, I believe by about 13 points, according to CNN exit polling. So school choice was on the ballot in Florida, and DeSantis showed the rest of the country how it's done, how to win on education freedom.
Absolutely huge. Let's swing over to Arizona, because I know, Corey, had a victory with Governor Doug Ducey before this election. The outgoing governor signed in one of the most sweeping school choice pieces of legislation in Arizona. When does that get enacted? Walk us through what that looks like, because this is what should be replicated in other states.
Yeah, it's already working. Families have flooded the government website. They actually created a bunch of error messages when it first started to open back in August. But there's been tens of thousands of families that have applied for this initiative, and it's basically the gold standard of education freedom. Every single family, regardless of income, gets to take their children's state-funded education dollars to the education provider of their choosing. That could be the public school. If you like your public school, you can keep your public school. But if not, you can take that funding to a private school, a charter school, or home-based education option. So Arizona went all in. It's every family, no eligibility requirements. Everyone is eligible. All families get school choice in Arizona. And they did it with 1-seat Republican majorities. It took all Republicans in the state of Arizona to show up, vote for their party platform issue, and more importantly, to vote for enshrining parental rights in education. The best way to secure those rights is to allow families to choose the school that works best for their kids and aligns with their values. Now you have Governor Abbott in his victory speech on Tuesday night. He mentioned that he ran this campaign on the issue of school choice. And so he's going to push harder than we've ever seen before in Texas history for funding students as opposed to systems. Look, if Arizona can get it done with 1-seat majorities, a state like Texas better be able to get it done as well. So I'm really interested to see what will happen in 2023. It is a top 8 legislative priority for the GOP in Texas this coming session.
Well, and it's so important. I'm so glad Republicans have gotten away from this, voucher language. I leave it to Republicans to sort of take the passion out of an issue when they called it the voucher system. It is school choice. It is about parents having the choice. And it's so simple to explain. The funding for your student's education goes wherever your student ends up going to school. It's just like funding for a college tuition, right? You don't just throw the money at the college system. You let it follow the student depending on what college they choose. So, Corey DeAngelis, are school board meetings, are school board elections still important? Can a rogue school board that doesn't agree with school choice, could they upend this or make it very difficult for parents? Is that why we still focus on these elections as well?
Look, they can go and lobby at the Capitol and push against school choice reforms, but at the end of the day, these policies are typically passed at the state level. So in Arizona, it's the state funding that follows the child, about $7,000 per student. So the school boards can cry about it all they want, but they can't really stop parents from exercising that choice once the policy is enacted. Now, that doesn't mean we should leave the school boards alone. We should still try to get our views represented on the school board. But at the end of the day, that's just another top-down solution in the broken system. Just imagine if we had grocery boards that we went and fought with to determine the one-size-fits-all set of groceries that everybody must take home every week based on your address. It wouldn't make any sense. You'd still try to get your voices represented on that board, but the better solution is, well, let me shop at Trader Joe's if I don't like Safeway or Harris Teeter. It's bottom-up accountability is the strongest form of accountability. So we should do both, but at the end of the day, the only real solution here is school choice to allow families to have the best options for their kids.
30 seconds, Corey DeAngelis, because schools have been so much in the news, what with the COVID lockdowns, with the learning loss, with the critical race theory, transgender policies, the distraction from just the core education principles. Which one of those is really motivating this issue more than the other, or I'm assuming it's an all of the above situation?
Well, it's all the above. There's a lot of good reasons to support parental rights in education, but recently it's been non-test score based arguments for freedom. Look, the COVID school closures had a silver lining. Families got to see what was going on in the classroom, and parents are more likely to get mobilized about values-based arguments for freedom than anything else. Parents saw that their kids were getting brainwashed to hate them for 13 years. No parent wants that to happen, so they're pushing for change now.
I love it. We're very positive thinking and glass half full over here, and the COVID lockdowns were awful, but if we can get school choice nationwide out of it, then fine. Let's take that deal. Corey DeAngelis, Senior Fellow, American Federation for Children, congratulations to you for pushing this. Thanks for joining us. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.